I go to a lot of comedy clubs here in Las Vegas. Of course, Pauly Shore's Comedy Club in the Art District. I love going there. I love going to the Laugh Factory, the Brad Garrett Comedy Club, the LA Comedy Club at the Stratosphere. Had some great comics on this show over the years, and I've been doing this for a long time. So I love going to comedy shows, man. And the lady we have with us in studio right now, no exception, very talented comedian, and I have a lot of topics to get to with her. Her tour is the Alphabet Store, which I love the name of that, by the way. It's pretty cool. She has a new album coming out, I believe, in 2023. So we'll get to that. And she's performed pretty much everywhere. You can hear her on Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, pretty much everywhere. She's been on stage and toured. TJ Miller, Jim Florentine, who I love, is a Howard Stern favorite. I love him. Russell Peters. So she has been all over the place. And her new album, Am I Effing Zen Yet? Do I have that right? The very funny and talented Lindsay Glazer joining us in studio. Lindsay, I appreciate you being here. How are you?
I am great. Thanks for having me.
Did I get the name of that album correct?
So, you good? Am I fucking Zen Yet is the name of my book. Oh,
F word. Yeah, say the F word. That's okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead. That's okay.
I know you just said that. I lied. I forgot. Radio. I'm bad. I've been on radio. So
it's quite all right.
I totally know I'm not supposed to say that.
That's okay. That's okay. I wish women would say that word more around me, but that's okay.
But not in the studio.
Yes, not in the studio.
That is the name of my book that's coming out in 2023. Am I effing Zen yet? I'm sorry, if you get fined by the FCC, I'll have Pippen pay it. And
we'll talk about that, by the way. Can we talk about that to start for people that don't know? All right. So obviously, Scottie Pippen, great NBA career. Not the greatest reputation of being one of the nicest human beings around. Let's put it bluntly. He's kind of a jerk. He's an a-hole. And the nickname for him is No Pippen Tippin, because especially in Las Vegas, goes around town, doesn't tip anybody. He's not a very generous guy. Doesn't seem like a very good father. He's just a jerk, right? So I read this story where he actually filed a lawsuit against you because you allegedly rented one of his estates in Miami, and then he drops the lawsuit. What the hell happened there?
So my house was ruined in Hurricane Irma in Florida. Like, it was water damage, everything. At the time, there were like fires on the West Coast, tons of hurricane damage on left. There was very few inventory.
Yeah.
My insurance said you had to find a house that was in 3 miles of where I lived before, and there were only 2 houses available, and the cheapest one was Pippen's.
How much was it?
But how much was it? Like a month?
Curious.
I think it was like $15,000 a month.
That's
my
a
insurance
lot.
paid. It's a lot, but it was still the cheapest.
Covered by your insurance.
Yeah, I've had the same insurance.
So this is a beautiful home, right? $15,000 a month. You would think it would be a large.
I mean, you would think it was a large home, not upkept at all, super disaster. I mean, it was crazy the amount of stuff when we moved in.
Was it like a mansion? I mean, $15,000 a month. It's got to be a really. What does it have? Like a basketball court or tennis?
It had a basketball court, tennis court, trampoline, pools, and what everyone always asks me is, I'm 5'3". What were the counters like? The counters were like almost. It was funny. I had to use a step stool.
How did you know right from the beginning that it was Scottie Pippen's place?
No,
you didn't. So somebody had told you that later.
Well, my insurance knows, because at some point, like, the contract happens, and then people know. And then
how long were you there for?
I think about a year. And then while we were there, they actually extended the contract. This is the weird part. So they extended the contract and let us stay there extra months. So it was weird that later they're like, just kidding, you ruined our house. So the reason that happened was they mistakenly thought that I was related to Malcolm Glazer, the guy who owns the Tampa Bay Bucks, and that I was worth $4.5 billion.
So they thought you were the daughter or something of the guy who owns the Buccaneers.
No.
So so Pippen sues you for how much money?
$150,000 originally, and then he added my daughter to the lawsuit later.
And what did they claim you did?
Oh my God, what did they not claim I did? That my daughter peed on the walls and drew on the wall, or peed in their outside in the garden, and that we destroyed their house, and that I stole his knives that were dear. This is my favorite part in the whole thing, is that I stole his knives that were worth a lot of money and that were very dear to Pippen. 1, I bet Pippen's never cooked his own meal in his life.
Probably not.
And 2, those knives were Cuisinart knives, which are worth maybe $40 for the wooden block. So I started a GoFundMe to help him out because I knew he needed money. And then I donated, I think we raised like $500. I don't remember anymore. And then we donated to a military organization because I'm very pro-military.
So this was all BS then?
It was all.
You didn't damage his home?
Not at all. Like, if it had actually went to trial, I knew it would settle. People are always like, why didn't you fight it? I'm like, it's a clown show if I fight it, And also, that eventually insurance settles everything.
So this story became public. Like if you Google
That's
this,
what they
it's
thought,
all
yeah.
over the internet. The story becomes public. Now, the end result was they dropped the lawsuit. Did you have to hire an attorney or like what?
They didn't drop the lawsuit.
Oh, they didn't.
Settled the lawsuit.
They settled it. Okay.
I mean, the end result was Jim Rome called Scottie a little B on his show.
Yeah.
And then later his son said the same thing just a few weeks ago because he said he cheats at basketball.
So you had to pay him something?
Yeah, my insurance paid. Yeah.
Do you know how much it was?
Do you think I don't know how much? No, I know how much it was.
It was a lot less than that.
It was a lot less than he asked for. It, like at a certain point, it went on for like 3 years. His son died in between.
Here's what's amazing to me, right? His son dies, which is, by the way, a horrible tragedy. I think we all could agree on that. Here's a guy that's probably worth $50 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's boatloads of money. Why is he trying to stickle somebody like you for knives? Or I don't know how much money they got. Maybe 50,000. I don't know.
He needs money. He's always been a poor manager of money. If you look it up, they say he's like the worst manager. You know,
why is he like a compulsive gambler? Like what?
I don't know about that. Jordan was. Right.
Still
Jordan,
is.
Yeah, still is. I don't know if he's a compulsive gambler, but a lot of athletes end up not being good with money when
he's just a selfish bastard. I'm sorry. I'm just going to tell it what it is. By the way, even the stories, Jordan does not have a good relationship with him. Even in the Michael Jordan documentary that came out. And by the way, I didn't think it was great because it was all from Jordan's perspective and nobody could say anything bad about the king, Michael Jordan. But they really portrayed Scottie Pippen in a really bad light. I don't know if you watched the documentary, but
I didn't see it.
So there's a moment, and this is a little off topic, but it's still about Scottie Pippen being the jerk that he is. There was a moment in a game where Phil Jackson, who's the Zen master, right, one of the best NBA coaches of all time, and they had a player on this Chicago Bulls team named Tony Kukoc, great three-point shooter, better shooter than Scottie Pippen. They ran a play, and Scottie Pippen was livid that with 10 seconds left to go, they weren't running a play getting him the basketball. He was livid. Anyway, turns out Tony Kukoc gets the ball, makes the shot, Bulls win the game. And Scottie Pippen, you never heard the end of it from Scottie Pippen. He was so angry that they didn't run a play for him to get the ball. And that is a testament to what a selfish prick Scottie Pippen is. He's a horrible tipper. He's just a bad guy, man. And I'm sorry that he did that to you. So was there any evidence at all? There must have been some evidence that you did something, or no?
No, not really. The contract said you had to keep it in like show condition, which is different than a normal real estate contract, but was able to prove that it was never in show condition. Like he said that like our animals like peed all over there, except there's literally anyone can go right now to Real Housewives and see that there were hamsters and snakes in their house and they were complaining about those.
Let me ask you a question. You were sleeping, I would imagine, in his bedroom where he slept in. How many women do you think he cheated on his wife in that bedroom?
Oh, man.
Like if you had to estimate.
Do you think he brought them there?
I don't know.
He probably did it. Yeah, 1,000. I mean,
did that ever cross your mind? Like when you were in the shower, like how many women did Scottie Pippen bang in the shower while you're taking a shower?
Well, now it did. I mean, I changed my sheets immediately, but I assumed he cheated on all his women, not in the, when pro athletes and other famous people cheat on their wives, they don't do it in the marital bed.
Some do because they have no class.
Or
some
do.
Scottie, if there was anybody to do it, Scottie Pippen would probably be the guy. I'll say that. Yeah, he'd probably be the guy. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you.
Thank you.
I'm glad that the money didn't come out of your pocket.
No.
That's the most important thing here. These insurance companies have so much money.
No.
So it's sad that Scottie Pippen has these fabulous lawsuits and
just everything. And he put someone in the hospital 2 weeks ago for like some guy getting an autograph and then he kept, I don't know, the guy kept talking to him.
I heard about that. Yeah. Listen, I can understand. I remember reading about that.
Although I do agree with Pippen. If someone spit on my daughter, I might put them in the hospital too.
Oh, yeah. Obviously, if you spit on somebody, that's assault.
Yeah.
You can
battery.
Right. You're legally, you're allowed to defend yourself. But Scottie Pippen is a big dude. He's still a big dude.
You can only defend yourself with the right amount of force. You can't spit on me and then I can't murder you.
Force. Right. Of course. Of course. You got to be reasonable about this. Scottie Pippen's just a jerk. Listen, he's just a jerk. You okay over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. I was looking at my boob. My dress was on backwards and I didn't know.
Is your dress really on backwards?
Yeah. And Justin's like,
is it really
you
on
can't
backwards?
say boob. I can say boob, can't I?
Yeah, of course you can.
No, it is. Yeah.
Justin wanted you to put your dress on the right way live in studio, but okay. Well, this is. Can we get the camera? Do we get the camera on that?
Oh my God, I forgot we were on camera. See, that's a problem with the radio.
It's a viral moment. No, okay. So can I ask you that Lindsay comes in studio and she asked me, "Oh wait, you guys are doing video?" And she was freaking out because I guess she wasn't prepared for it. So I apologize.
I don't like surprise video.
Yeah. Well, I didn't put on any makeup today. You look fine. You look beautiful. So don't worry about that. But Justin, I'm sure you would agree. Would you agree? Yes.
Justin's like, don't pressure me. This is on video.
She looks very nice. All right. Let's talk a little bit about your career.
Okay.
When in your
lack
life
thereof.
No, you're doing very well for yourself. You got this new album coming out. You performed at some great clubs here in Vegas and across the country with some phenomenal comedians. Like, at what point in your life did you say to yourself, and you're an attorney too, right?
Yep.
That's incredible. So how long have you been an attorney for?
Since 2003.
What type of attorney are you?
Well, I started as a criminal defense attorney and then like did PI stuff and did contract. But I went back to school, got my master's in criminology.
That takes a long time to
And
pass the bar. And this is not easy.
No.
Right? What do you
I'm
make?
very smart.
Oh, I can see that, of course. What do you make of some of these idiot attorneys out there that do not deserve to pass the bar, and lawyers? Like, there's a guy, Joey Gilbert, who ran for office in Nevada. I had him on. He's a complete moron. He runs, what would you call that 25-minute interview? Just me and him insulting each other for 25 minutes. It was
Clown
crazy.
fest.
Yeah. Clown fest. Right? Yeah, it really was. He's an idiot. And he runs, I hate to use the term ambulance chaser, but some attorneys are great injury attorneys.
It's like anything else. There's always going to be,
What do you make of some of these attorneys that are just so dishonest, and it hurts your profession, doesn't it?
It's very hard. I mean, it attracts a lot of dishonest people because what's interesting is in the criminal defense bar, it's small. In all the states, it's like 250, 500. So you can't really, people are always surprised that criminal defense attorneys are more ethical. They have to be in a way because you're working in a smaller bar. And then you get to the civil side and there's 100,000 people and no accountability.
If OJ wanted you to represent him, would you represent him?
Yeah, I'd represent anyone.
What if if forget about OJ, but if you know that you're with a client and you know that client murdered somebody, the evidence is there, but you still think, well, geez, I can get him off because of this, and this, but in your heart, you know that they committed the crime. Do you still represent them?
Yeah, got to make a living, and the Constitution doesn't require a private lawyer to represent you, but it gives you that right.
And I understand that they have a right. I get what you're saying.
I mean, I was a public defender for many years.
Understood. And listen, I get what you're saying. They all deserve the right to a good attorney and to be represented. I totally get that. But what would you say to some people that would say, how do you go to sleep at night if you're defending somebody that you know committed the crime, but yet you're still trying to get them off? What would you say to somebody like that?
You mean like, how do I sleep at night? So when you start as a public defender, that's like a common question that comes up, because in the beginning you're in misdemeanor and a lot of the people are innocent in misdemeanor. But as you get up there, now you're representing guys with felony records 20 pages long, and now you're starting to question stuff. At a certain point, you have to kind of protect yourself from that thing and realize the universe is kind of working out. So if this guy gets off for this crime, maybe he served time for another crime he didn't deserve. If the guy, it is true. I don't know if you saw what's that? That's the thing about Pam. Did you guys see that?
I did not know.
In that, there's a very famous Jewish attorney named Joel. I don't remember his last name right now.
Shapiro?
Maybe, probably. Who says that a criminal defense attorney's worst nightmare is an innocent client, and that is absolutely true.
Right.
Because if you as an innocent client goes away, that is way worse than the other way.
Have you ever represented somebody and you said to yourself, "Boy, I wish I never took this case"?
In private practice, not really. I got mostly DUIs in private practice and like low level misdemeanors and theft. I wasn't doing like attempted murder or murder. As a public defender, I did.
Understood.
I did death penalty cases, but I didn't get that privately.
And listen, let me be clear on this. I think what you do is very difficult, and I would imagine a lot of the people you represent deserve you and are treated.
None of them deserve me. Neither do the guys I date.
That's fair. A lot of women say that about me as well. But like, I call it the injustice system, because I think if you don't have money, I do believe minorities at times are treated differently in the justice system.
No question.
Right. If Bill Cosby doesn't have money, he's in jail right now, I believe. If OJ Simpson didn't play in the NFL, he's in jail right now. So I'm not even talking about the color of the skin right now. I'm just saying in general terms.
Fame and
exactly. You would agree with that, right?
No, absolutely. Not even a question. I don't even think it's kind of. It is absolutely true. I mean, all the min-mans for drugs and stuff were literally aimed at minority neighborhoods.
And you have a lot of people in jail right now that were caught selling weed that are still in jail. I mean, it's ridiculous, right?
That part is stupid, especially if you decriminalize. I don't actually know. I mean, it's legal here, but like in New York and stuff where it's decriminalized, they should be letting people out for weed charges.
Agree 150%. So it goes both ways. Yes, there are people out there that are just scumbags and they don't deserve to be let out. But then there are an overwhelming majority of people.
It's almost always a class issue that ends up being a race issue.
So let me ask you this. I know we're getting into like serious
I'm like, is
conversation.
this a comedy show?
I know, right? I know. Last question about you being attorney. What would you say to people out there that say, no, our justice system is fair? There's no systemic racism. What would you say to them?
I'd say, like, I totally understand that if you believe that, because I came from Peoria, Illinois. And honestly, I went to an inner city school, and I didn't believe that cops were racist because I didn't experience that, because I was white and my family was middle class. But like, if I talk to people I went to grade school about what happened to them, it's different. And then I saw it myself. See, like a young black kid in like Miami at the public defender's office, no charge. He gets put on probation. Now you see him start coming in more and more, and you hear the same stories. The cops are following me around. And then you start to see it. As you watch every A form land on your desk, you start to see it. But if you haven't seen it and you're white or you have money or any of that, you don't realize. I went to an inner city school and didn't see it. And my friends are like, what are you talking about?
That makes sense. I mean, if you're raised a different way, what I try to do is I try to listen to other people. I try to listen to other people and different people that have different backgrounds. And I think that's all we can do.
I mean, that's, I think, the most important thing. I really disagree with like the whole idea of like cancel. You can't just cancel everyone. You should be educating everyone.
I agree.
And desegregate. You know, people always talk about this sort of like political stuff. The only thing you can really do to end like that, like racism, in my opinion, is desegregate everything, because no one understands anything if you're just talking at each other about politics. It's you have a friend who's a minority who you care about, who you now get now you see them being treated differently, and then you go, oh, I love this person. I need to do something about it.
People just need to be educated, and they need to be open to listening to other people.
That's
no question. So obviously,
we made it difficult to listen because we cancel you if you don't agree.
Yeah. Well, I don't agree with that either. I think that's why I love to have these types of discussions, whether it be you or anybody. I mean, one of my good friends is the director of the local NAACP here, and I always enjoy talking to her. It doesn't mean I'm going to agree on everything, but I enjoy talking to her. So obviously, this is interesting because you have a successful career, right? As a defense attorney, you've done very well for yourself. But there must have been a moment in your life you said, "Gosh, I want to tell jokes. I want to make people laugh." Like, when did that happen?
I've been making people laugh since I was 9 years old at the dinner table. But I mean, it's not that people think it's weird, but it's not. Litigation is the same skill as comedy. All jobs are the same. You're just a sales job. You sell not guilty verdicts to a jury, laughter to an audience, you know, all of that. You know, sports, or you're selling like feeling good to an audience.
Do you feel like when you're speaking in a courtroom to a jury, at times it's similar when you're on stage and you're not trying to make a jury laugh, of course, but you're trying to be likable, right?
That's untrue. Actually, there is a study done that says the more laughs you get per minute from a jury, then no matter how serious the case is, you're more likely to win. And it is related to likability.
So you want to be likable. And when you're on stage, you want to make people laugh, but you want to be liked.
So Steve, you told me Steve Hofstetter was your good friend.
Yeah.
And he was laughing at me because I did a show 2 years ago online during the pandemic. And people always ask me if Alpha B, I can say the word though, can't I?
Yes, you can.
They say Alpha bitch is a character, or if that's, you know, if that's a character, that's really me. And I told Steve at the time, I go, that's not an extension of me or a character. That's me pandering. I'm pandering, you bitches. And Steve said I should name my album I'm Pandering You Bitches.
Steve is a brilliant comic, by the way. Brilliant guy. He's political. I mean, he knocks on Republicans, rightfully so, some of them, but the extremists, you know, like the Marjorie Taylor Greens. Do you do that in your act at all? Do you ever touch on politics at all?
No, actually, I say nothing political at all in my act at all.
Why is that? Is that on purpose?
Yes, because I find it boring, because like I see very few people do it well enough. The audiences aren't necessarily smart enough. You don't have enough time. I mean, it's hard to do anything smart politically, like snappy. And the only thing I say politically at all is if I'm in a mixed audience of Republicans or Democrats, or like Las Vegas has a lot of like half liberals from New York, people from Montana, all in one audience. I just say, listen, guys, I'm not going to get political. I'm just going to tell you one thing. It's going to make you hate me all equally. I'm a registered Republican who voted for Hillary. All right. Now that y'all hate me, let's get over
Is that true?
Yep.
I don't think I've ever talked to a registered Republican that voted for Hillary Clinton. That is interesting. You know, I didn't vote for either. Can I ask you about why? What made you decide to vote for Hillary over Donald Trump? By the way, you made the right decision. Okay. You made the right decision. You're 100% right.
I would have never voted for Trump. He owes my dad $90,000 from the 90s. I know him personally, but I would have voted for Jeb, and people find that surprising. I do not make my decisions based on anything to do with parties. I'm a registered Republican,
right,
because I grew up in the Midwest and my family owns scrap yards.
Mm-hmm.
In Illinois, we had an open primary, so you could be independent, but we weren't. And then in Florida, it was closed. So
okay, so hold on.
Also, I believe in game theory too. Like, I want to know what the other side is doing.
Let's backtrack a little bit here. I'm sorry, I have to dissect this. You just said that Donald Trump owes your father $90,000. Can you please elaborate on that? What the hell is going on there? How did that happen?
They just did a business deal. They knew each other back in the day. You know, Trump doesn't pay his bills. He owes him money. So I have a personal vendetta against them. Not from before any of this happened.
Did he sue Donald Trump? Did your father try to get the money back or no?
I don't know. I was like 10 at the time. No.
Geez, I'm just so shocked to hear that Donald Trump had the oil snake salesman himself owes somebody money. I'm shocked to hear that.
Oh, are you? I mean, here's the thing. Like, you can't. Trump actually did a brilliant job of marketing his name even when he's bankrupt. Like, it's crazy.
Why do you think he won't show his tax returns?
For that reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I assume it's that reason.
I would be willing to bet, Lindsay. I would be.
But I can listen. Like, I can give you things about Trump that people would hate me for saying that I think were good. You cannot take away that he did Operation Warp Speed. That was him.
I agree with you, Lindsay, 150%. But here's my criticism with that. Yeah. He wasn't out there in the open telling people to get the vaccine from the start.
That's right. And he ruined it. I said that this morning, that if he had been upfront and honest right away, we would. Not just that, we wouldn't be dealing with it now today with a
100%.
Fourth variation, but you can see that he is a narcissist and that you can't tell him bad news.
Right.
Like, you can see the personality.
And by the way,
disorder.
He gets the vaccine privately with Melania, doesn't do that publicly when every other I have no by the way, nobody despises Donald Trump more than I do as a piece of garbage. But with that being said, we agree on that. But with that being said, I agree with you. I have no problem giving him credit for Operation Warp Speed if he was more aggressive with telling people to get the vaccine. And then all of a sudden Biden becomes president. And you go, yeah, get the vaccine. Too late, dummy. Too late. You know, you're telling people to inject yourself with disinfectant. You know, you're attacking people for wearing masks. We could all disagree. Like, we could all disagree with how it was handled. I think that's very fair.
It was handled very, very poorly. Yeah. And the stupid part about it is he disbanded. We had a pandemic council, like Obama, and even before Obama created like a council for, hey, this is how we're going to deal with it.
Sure.
And then it was just,
we got to get your father this 90 grand. Maybe, can I give Jared, can we give Jared, by the way, I have Donald Trump's cell phone number, by the way. Maybe I really do, actually. I'm not even kidding. I'll give it to you. Maybe like Jared Kushner. I mean, he just did a $2 billion deal. Maybe we can get that 90 grand. I don't know. How can we get that 90 grand? I mean, he paid Stormy Daniels 120. You think your dad, with minus the sexual favors, would be able to get 90, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Do you really
think Stormy Daniels do sexual favors to Donald Trump? She deserved a lot more than that.
You're probably right about that. She probably did.
How long? She deserves pain and suffering.
How long do you think he lasted with Stormy, by the way?
Like, Lindsay, in bed?
Be honest. Yeah. How long do you think Donald Trump is a guy that lasts a long time and he's a stud? Or do you think it was like a 20-second deal?
I mean, I don't know. I think probably he had to look at his tax return while he was doing it to last like 5 minutes.
Wow, that's crazy. So you got Scottie Pippen suing you, and you have your father who's owed $90,000 from Donald Trump. These are very prominent people. I find that it's a very interesting dynamic.
I live a very interesting life.
I can see that. I have a lot more questions to get to you. All right. So if you're just joining us, we're speaking with Lindsay Glazer. Her new album is coming out next year. By the way, she's performed all over town. You performed at Pauly Shore's Club, right? In the Art
Wise
District.
Guys. Yeah.
What do you think of that club? I like it.
I love that club. I think it's a great club. Pauly owns a part of it, but Keith out of Salt Lake City, Keith Stubbs owns it, and he has 3 other clubs in Salt Lake. It is my favorite club to perform in. The audiences are good,
and they're local. That's why I like it. They're local.
Yeah, a lot of it is local. Not all of it, because you get some strip stuff, but it's local. People go to that Abel Baker across, which is great. It's so random. Abel Baker. I went to them. They're a brewery. I can't drink carbonation. I had an ulcer a long time. I can't drink beer. So I ordered wine.
Why can't you drink carbonation?
I don't know. It aggravates your ulcer. But I ordered wine at Abel Baker, and normally a wine in a brewery is not that good. It was the best wine I've had in a year. It was so good.
I love that area.
Yeah, it was
They've got
great.
some really cool bars down there.
Yeah, and
the art district.
horse,
yeah.
what is it called? A horse trailer? I always forget.
What is it called?
The trailer, horse trailers. The other one.
I don't know what that is. There a place called the Horse Trailer?
It's right across from Wise Guys too.
They have horses there. I don't know.
No,
I don't know. I never heard of
stables of women. They call horses.
Stables of women. All right. Well, maybe we can get into your personal life.
Okay.
Are you married, by the way?
No, I am divorced.
You have kids? All right. We'll get to that when we come back.
One and done. I'm dating a Trump supporter.
Oh boy, we'll talk about that. And I also want to talk about some.
I want a bad Democrat.
I want to talk about some of your influences, comedy wise, a little bit when we come back. We'll talk about your new album when we come back, and maybe a little bit about your family as well. That's an interesting dynamic. So if you're just joining us, we're speaking with Lindsay Glazer. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey, everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams, treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client. So please give them a call, 702-248-0554. I want to tell you guys about one of my favorite doctors in the Valley, Dr. K. She's a board-certified internal medicine physician. She's been in practice for over 20 years, went to Yale. She believes in treating body and mind as a whole by achieving harmony and balance. She offers hormone replacement, Botox, skin rejuvenation, even snoring treatment, because we know how that can be annoying from time to time. Also plasma treatments and so much more with cutting-edge technology. Please give her a call, 702-410-5779. You could also give her an email at cosmeticaesthetics.lv@gmail.com. Again, that number, 702-410-5779. Call Dr. K. Tell them I sent you, and I promise you won't be disappointed. My J Supreme is the first national three-point contest where the finale ends right here in Las Vegas on Saturday, September 10th at Durango High School. On Championship Saturday, there's going to be $25,000 cash on the line. Winners from across the country will compete for the grand prize. Go watch and support the great cause, which is to raise money for community and gun violence intervention programs. There'll be an interactive fan contest where you can win cash and gift cards. Go to myjsupreme.com for more details. Again, myjsupreme.com. Look, it's impossible for the average person to find a great attorney out there. There's so much misinformation. Now, let me introduce you to former Chief Deputy District Attorney Thomas Moskal. He was Las Vegas's top DUI prosecutor for years. He prosecuted the most high-profile DUI cases in Clark County. No one knows more about DUI law in Nevada. Just Google it. If you get charged with DUI, whether it's a misdemeanor or even more importantly, a felony, you need Thomas Moskal representing you. His relationships with the prosecutors and judges and his knowledge of DUI law to work for you. So give him a call now or text him at 702-848-5555. It's your life and liberty that's at stake. Don't wait. Call now. That number again, 702-848-5555.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premier Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. So glad you could join us. We got a very funny comic, very talented Lindsay Glazer in studio. I learned that her father is owed $90,000 from Donald Trump. That's interesting. And she was personally sued by Scottie Pippen. So very interesting. So Lindsay, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm growing a six-pack, and I have Sahara West. You probably didn't notice that because it's not there. But anyway, Sahara West Urgent Primary Care. I'm on the testosterone therapy, and I feel like a new man. It's unbelievable. Give them a call at 702-248-0554. You don't need an appointment. They take most insurances, and if you don't have insurance, $95 self-pay. They're located at Sahara and Jones. As I mentioned again, give them a call. You don't need an appointment. I was in and out of there in 20 minutes. It was awesome. I took a little longer than maybe Donald Trump took with Stormy Daniels, but 702-248-0554, Sahara West Urgent Primary Care. All right, so Lindsay, I got to ask you this. I did check out your social media. I was stalking your social media. You have a post on Facebook that said you had sex last night. Do you care to elaborate? Would you like to elaborate? It wasn't Donald Trump. Can we agree on that?
It wasn't Donald
Trump. Was it Pauly Shore? Be honest.
No, it was no. I don't date comics or lawyers. I do not stick my pen in the company ink. So you can have testosterone.
What are you playing? What is that?
He was playing over me in case I cursed again.
Oh, is that what you're...
Okay. I just had sex.
So come on, don't be shy here. What is this, a guy you met?
I'm not being shy.
Is this a guy you met on a dating website? Did you meet him at a bar? Was this a one-night stand last night?
Actually, no, none of the above.
So this is a serious thing.
No, it's not serious, but I actually met him. I met a guy online on eHarmony, actually.
Oh, wow.
Who I wasn't a match with, and we stayed friends. And he invited me to a dinner party, and I would never do this normally.
Yeah.
And he was like, I want to introduce you to my friend. And this guy he wanted to introduce me to, I can't give away his identity, but the guy he wanted to introduce me to was other people I've been on dates with have been like, hey, do you know this person?
Wayne Newton.
Because not Wayne Newton, because we have a lot of similar friends in common.
Yeah.
And so when it was like kind of like a thing that I was like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to meet this dude. So I met him at
Steve Aoki. Sorry, I'll
the
stop.
DJ? I would never sleep with a DJ. No DJs, no comics,
nope.
No attorneys.
What about bald Jewish radio hosts?
No, you guys make like $30,000 a year.
Boy, she's right about that. Anyway, go ahead, continue.
That's it. I met him at a dinner party.
You met him at a dinner party.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to sleep with him? How many dates?
10.
Oh, wow. So you're holding out. That's good. So that means he's a good guy. Right?
He
10 dates is a lot.
Yeah, some of it, I don't know. Do you count the dinner dates for a while?
Justin, help me out here. 10 dates in 2022 that's a lot. Would you say? Am I wrong? And
you are not wrong.
I'm right on that. You know what? That's good. Okay. That means, in my opinion, that he likes you a lot, and he likes you more than just that. I know it's a cliche, right?
I'm pretty sure that I would have slept with him earlier.
Oh, really? So did it take him a while to make a move on you?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
How long did it take him to just kiss you?
A while. I was
Really?
waiting. I was like, I thought he was going to give me a contract. And be
How many dates before he makes a move to just kiss you?
Now I feel terrible because if he hears this, he's going to kill me.
That's the worst thing a guy can hear, by the way. If a woman says, you should have made a move on me a lot earlier, a guy gets pretty hurt by that, because then they call it, they're the wussy.
No, he's not like that at all.
No.
He's a good kid.
So he's a good kid. Was it good? Was it good?
It's excellent.
He did a very good job.
He did a great job.
So do you think this could be something serious?
Yes.
Well, congrats. That's a good thing.
No.
You haven't given me any material where I can make fun of anything. It sounds very legitimate to me.
Well, yeah. I'm gonna listen. You're allowed to make fun of me, but I'm not gonna allow you to make fun of him. I'm not. Ruin it.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Listen,
okay?
It took me a lot.
I like sex like anybody does, but let me tell you something. And I'm being serious now with you, okay, Lindsay? If I really, really like somebody, I could wait months for that. If
Right.
I'm really into
Because
somebody,
the thing is,
there's
you can
nothing
go
wrong
get
with
laid
that.
anywhere.
And you know what it also makes me think, and I'm sure this is true with you, you're not with someone that's dirty, that's sleeping with a million guys. You're with a woman who has respect for herself. And it makes me like that person more. Like, okay.
I disagree with that theory. I don't
Really?
think that sleeping with around makes you have less respect for yourself. Like, you know, guy, like
I'm talking about a man's perspective.
your
That's all.
perspective.
Right.
But
right.
like, I disagree with that. Like, if I was the sort of honestly, it's not like it would have taken me that long. I am
Right.
just busy and kind of bored. And we had a lot of situations where we're like in
I
public.
I totally understand what you're saying. All I'm saying is
I am sex positive, damn it.
from a man's perspective, if I go out with a woman and she's super aggressive with me on like the first date and I sleep with her on the first date, I'm not going to have as much respect.
You're not going to be
and
as
maybe that's
emotionally
wrong.
invested.
And maybe that's wrong.
That is wrong.
It is wrong.
It's sexist.
And you know what? It is. It is. I admit that. And it's wrong. But I'm just telling you, if I'm out with a woman who's super aggressive with me and she's known me 2 hours and she sleeps with me, I'm thinking to myself, maybe this isn't relationship. Right. Right. And listen, a woman could think about that about a guy as well. And I think that's very, very fair. Right. I think it's fair. But these are the times we're living in. And you're right. That probably is a sexist way of thinking. And it probably is wrong. But I would prefer to go out with someone that I would have to wait 10 dates for. I would have more respect for that. Anyway, we can get off of your relationship.
Leave this poor man alone.
Well, he seems like a nice guy. Congratulations. I'm sure you guys are a great couple. Do you talk about your personal life, though, a lot on like social media and on stage?
Yes, you have to. Right. Not on stage so much, but on social
Right.
media a lot. I mean, I'm not only seeing like one guy. This is also, I should not be talking about on the radio, but I'm going to. I'm seeing more than one person. And I get a lot of this in Nevada, which is weird.
You're not dating Justin, are you, our producer?
No,
I
no,
wasn't sure.
They don't make that much more money than radio hosts.
That's true, actually.
I'm
true.
not trying to take care of
I'm
someone.
a gigolo, though. I have a side hustle.
I'm trying to up my, up my income stream.
A man with money, is that something that interests you more? Like if a man has money, is that more sexy to you?
No, not in like a gold digger way, but I need you to be my financial equal.
Right.
I think it makes, from a cultural standpoint, it's easier to deal because like otherwise, unless you are a very secure guy, it is hard to be with someone who makes a lot more money than you.
So let me ask you a question. You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but since we're getting you're like what, 200 grand, 300 grand a year? You still practice law, right?
Hold on, let me think about this. No, I'm seriously thinking about it.
Well, I like to ask people how much money they make. I'm going to guess around 250K a year you make, somewhere around that vicinity.
A little higher.
A little higher. So 300, maybe 350.
No, I'm not going to tell you.
Wow, look at you. You're doing well for yourself.
I do okay.
Is it hard finding a man that makes that much money?
Like you don't have to make that much money. Like, right? It's not like you're like, oh, I make $10 and you need to make exactly $10.
I understand.
It's not like that.
Yeah.
But you can't have like a gap where someone makes $25,000 teaching and you make half a million.
What about a guy like as sexy as myself, right? Who makes like 300 a week? No chance, right? No chance.
No chance.
Not 300.
No chance.
300
I mean, I don't know. Can you get me on all those comic shows and into Laugh Factory and The Cellar? Then maybe.
Maybe. You got to have connections.
But I mean, I don't really need you for that. I can just.
That's true. That's true. So I wanted to ask you like some of your influences, comic wise.
Richard Pryor.
He's one of your. Oh, I'm
from Peoria.
That's a classic. You're from Sam Kinison country, right?
So Sam Kinison lived in East Peoria.
I had his sister on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's great.
That's amazing. Does she live here?
Yeah. His sister lives here. His ex-wife lives here. His sister came in. Boy, wasn't he unbelievably? I heard he wasn't maybe the nicest person in the world, but what a masterful comic, right? That scream.
Most comics are not the nicest people in the world because a lot of them are alcoholics or have the childhood trauma. In a lot of cases, the more trauma you had as a kid, the funnier you are. Look at Richard Pryor. Would never be famous today. He would have like been
You sound like you're describing like porn stars, right?
Because there's a lot of crossover in UFC, porn, comedy, all of it.
UFC too. God, that's a good.
Right, Adam Hunter, right?
Adam Hunter is a friend of mine as well.
And Adam's also a friend of mine.
Phenomenal comic. In fact,
I was there when his baby heckled him.
I love him because he's all over the place with his writing is brilliant. He's a great comic. But
I don't understand half his jokes because they're about UFC, and I have to go like.
He's like a wrestling coach. Yeah. Adam Hunter's a great comic, man. I've seen him a million times.
His crowd work is fantastic,
phenomenal. I love like Bobby Slayton back in the day. I love comics that can just. Who's another guy I'm thinking of?
Bobby Slayton's great.
Yeah, Bobby Slayton's certainly one of them. There's a few others that I'm thinking of that I'm drawing.
Ian Bagg's got
Ian Bagg. I was just thinking of him. That's the guy I was thinking of.
Work.
Ian Bagg. Every show is different with him.
I saw Ian Bagg at the Laugh Factory in LA, walk into the bathroom, see some guys like, what's it called? Crossing swords or whatever.
Yeah.
Come back out and do an hour show about just that. Well, I say clearly didn't prepare it. He
I-
is so good.
That's why I love him. And that's the guy I was thinking of because he's been on the show before. I love comics that, it sucks when you have a comic and you see them once and then you see them
Have you
again.
had Derek Richards on the show here?
I have not. No.
He's a local comic.
Oh, is he?
Excellent. Hilarious. Kathleen Dunbar also.
Kathleen's been here before.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. Very,
Right.
very talented comic. Yeah. I love Bob Saget.
Derek's Kathleen's best friend.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Okay. So Bob Saget's been on this show several times.
Poor guy.
And I loved that
He's
guy.
not going to be on that show again.
It's unfortunate. But yeah, his death was really bizarre.
Yeah.
But I remember I was 18 years old, first time in LA, and I went to Dangerfield's Comedy Club. I believe it's still there on Sunset. Is it not? I don't know.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. Maybe it's not, but it was Rodney
You
Dangerfield's
sure it was
place.
in LA and not in New York?
No, it was on Sunset.
Oh.
It was on Sunset. And I see Bob Saget. He's like the first real celebrity I ever met, right? And I remember he followed a lady into the ladies' room with his microphone, and it was like, and she was angry, and her husband was yelling at him, and for like 30 minutes, it was like just impromptu, just ad-libbing, and the guy was just a genius, right? And like I think of Louie Anderson, who's a different comedian who was also passed away. Gilbert Godfrey, another legend who we lost. Like all these legends we've been losing, man. Louie Anderson, not really a surprise. Obviously, he didn't take care of himself. And I know that Gilbert had cancer, but the Bob Saget death was weird.
Something like happened, like either bad drugs or
what
a heart
the hell
issue.
happened there?
Well, you don't know. Like heart issues can happen. You can have a heart attack out of nowhere. You can have. There was a comic. There was an owner of a comedy club. His name's Jeff Jones. He owned the Looney Bin. He was healthy. He ran all the time. He golfed. Had an embolism and it killed him. Came out of nowhere. That's just a blood clot.
You're right. Weird things happen. But you look at Sagan and he was a guy that was a philanthropist. He did so many things to help people, and it's so sad, man. When you think about all these legends that we lost. So Pryor, anybody else that growing up for you that you just
Carlin.
Oh, he was phenomenal. Oh, George Carlin was the best.
People always ask me this, and then I always forget to say, who. And Maria Bamford. I love Maria Bamford.
What do you think of Sarah Silverman?
She's great. I love Sarah.
She's coming to town soon. I like her. I asked her out on a date live on the radio. It didn't go so well.
No.
She said she totally would, but she had a boyfriend at the time. So.
That's what we all say, so we can say no safely.
I know, it was such a lie. Well, I guess the guy she was dating at the time was the guy that was opening up for her at the Pearl. He's a talented comedian.
What was his name?
I don't remember his name.
Was it Pete Holmes?
I don't remember, but he was like a impersonator and he was good. He opened up for her at the Pearl. I think she's awesome.
Yeah,
I think she's great. Are there any comedians out there that you say to yourself, they don't deserve the accolades? Because I think there's a few out there that kind of suck, that are overrated. Like
I don't know. Nothing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
How about you? Who?
Nobody. Who's the guy that was in the movie Waiting? He's a stand-up comic.
Dane Cook.
Yeah, I think he sucks. I never liked Dane Cook. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Well, he does. So whether you like Dane Cook's comedy or not, Dane Cook was the very first person to basically tell Ticketmaster to go screw themselves.
He did do that.
Sell out Madison Garden.
He did do that.
So he does.
You have to give him credit for that.
He deserves it. He did his own marketing. He never lied. He didn't get any favors from that. He did it. I mean, maybe his shirt being off gave it. I mean, that's a thing.
I think the Dice Man, it was original what he did back in the day, but I think it kind of sucks now.
His opener. So, his act didn't evolve in the same way because but that's not actually his fault in a way, right? You have to, sometimes if you're known as Andrew Dice Clay, you have to keep being Andrew Dice Clay. You can't now rebrand yourself. Look what happened to, what was her name from Dirty Dancing? Jennifer Grey.
Yeah. Well, what she did with that nose job and everything. She looks I thought she was more pretty before she got all that done. Yeah,
but
I agree.
Eleanor Kerrigan, who is Andy Dice Clay's opener, is a fantastic comic.
I heard allegedly, I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard a rumor that Dice owed a lot of money to the Hard Rock and he's a degenerate gambler at the blackjack tables and that he was doing shows at the Hard Rock to pay back the markers.
You just described like half of the entertainment and comedy industry. Nick Cage, like owned by a studio who lives here, that's make 100 different movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Actually, the funniest thing I've seen in a long time that wasn't stand-up was Andy Samberg and Nicolas Cage doing In the Dojo on Saturday Night Live.
Yes, I remember that.
That was such a great parody. And Nicolas Cage, you got to give that guy credit. He's a good sport. I mean, he gets made fun of all the time.
I saw him at a gas station here in Las
nice?
Vegas. I didn't say anything to him because he looked like the Crypt Keeper. He wasn't, and I didn't like. I was afraid to go up to him, but I love his movies.
I love his movies too.
I mean, he's not like an Oscar-worthy actor, but hey, Con Air, man, give me back my bunny. I mean, come on, it was great.
Con Air is the
I love that movie.
I stop and watch every time.
I love that movie. Yes.
What's his name? Steve Buscemi. Who's amazing.
I love Steve Buscemi. I love Buscemi. I was just watching The Sopranos the other day, and I forgot he was even in. He's been in everything. Brilliant actor. That guy's a brilliant actor. What do you make of some of these comics, like Chappelle, who also I love? getting attacked on stage. I mean, what do you make of this era where people are just crazy?
It's really insane. No one has any right to physically attack you over an opinion. And it just kind of speaks to like where we are in society. And also you're taking the worst of that, people with mental issues, putting them in a comedy club, forcing them to buy 2 drinks. And then you go, oh, I'm surprised they're on drugs and alcohol. And now they,
I'm with you.
But also the staff has to do their job. You got to watch. I mean, but you end up in a lot of Jimmy Kimmel's
used to live here in Vegas.
Yeah. But not only that, she got punched on stage.
I didn't know
She's
that.
a female.
That's awful.
That's crazy. And a male punched
Do you think Will Smith, in a way, made things worse for you guys with what he did?
Yes and no. I think you got to look at Will Smith in context. First off, when I saw that, I have a background of knowing Chris and Will Smith are friends. I thought that was a bit. Like when I saw that originally, I thought
seemed that way,
bit,
right?
He was in Muhammad Ali the year before. I know as a comic that 3 months before they've went over all these jokes and there's sensitivity trainers and everything. So I didn't know until later that was an ad lib from Chris Rock, but he also was an ad lib to his friend. I think what we were watching was Will Smith have a mental breakdown after 4 years of Jada. I mean, domestic abuse. Domestic abuse happens to males too, and that's what it looked like to me. She was humiliating him.
100%. I agree.
I mean, I don't know about domestic. I shouldn't say domestic because that sounds like she hit him, but like it looked like emotional.
Could not agree with you more. Yeah. I at first when I saw that, like you, I thought it was staged. Then I saw, okay, no, this is real. And then he breaking down crying. This is a man with a lot of emotional problems. Yeah. And I think a lot of those problems are due to Jada.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, I think he's in an unhealthy relationship. I don't think he should have been like canceled. He had no excuse to hit Chris Rock.
He apologized.
But too late. It's
too
a little
late.
too late.
I agree.
But I look at Will Smith as someone who was suffering mentally for 4 years and then had a mental break.
I guess that means he'd be a great stand-up comic.
Yeah, he probably is a great
Isn't Chris Rock brilliant, though? Yes. I thought the way he handled that was perfect. He couldn't have handled it much better. I just think Chris Rock is one of the most brilliant comedians of our generation.
I think Chris Rock is amazing. But his favorite things, I won't hit a woman, but I'll shake.
yeah, exactly.
So he's what's really great about Chris Rock is you don't see it until he starts doing theaters is how he mans the space of the theater.
Yeah.
He's really good at like slowing down.
By the
way, Tony Rock is brilliant too. Tony Rock has some of my favorite jokes.
Yeah, he's been very outspoken too with what took place there. People don't realize how difficult it is being a stand-up comedian, right? Some local comics, even they'll get up on stage for 5 or 10 minutes and they're terrible. I hosted
they think that they have 40 minutes and they have
5. Yeah, right. I did open mic comedy night many years ago at a place. What was it called? The Beach. It was on Paradise. And I only had to do 10 minutes. And then I introduced the comedians. And I had to work my ass off just to do 10 minutes of comedy. I mean, it's a very difficult job. Do you still get nervous when you get up on stage right as the show starts?
It depends on where I am. Yes and no. I was definitely nervous before I opened for Dimitri Martin at the Wynn.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's a big gig.
That was the biggest gig I've had.
That's a big gig. How many people were there? A lot of people.
3,000. But what was unfortunate about it is Dimitri Martin is brilliant and he normally sells out the Wynn at 5,000. But Bill Burr was in town at the Cosmo.
Another brilliant comic.
Brilliant. And one other person whose name is escaping me right now. I forget it, but like 3 very big names. And the thing is, normally
Aces Comedy, was that part of the Aces Comedy series?
Probably. They were on their own thing. And then Aces had its own person there. But the thing is, normally that doesn't matter. You can have 3 people in Vegas who draw from different audiences. But Dimitri and Bill Burr both have smart audiences. So they're drawing from the same pool.
So like before you get on stage in front of 3,000 people, like I would need to wear a diaper. Like, like when I talk on the radio, I just pretend like I'm talking to myself. And sometimes that's probably true. But anyway, no, but in all seriousness, like
until I show my boobs on the video to get you more views.
That would be viral. Yeah. Thank you. I'll get views there. Literally. But like what's going through your mind? Like, oh my God, are you thinking to yourself, this is the biggest gig of my life? Or do you think like that? Or are you just focused on what you need to do?
I'm usually meditating or listening to music.
Yeah.
And then writing my set out twice. And I have probably, if it's that big of a gig, I have rehearsed it in the mirror twice.
Really?
Yeah.
You rehearse all your stuff?
People make fun of me. Not all my stuff, but if it's like that sort of big, I get it out just so I like get it out.
That's smart. That's smart. It'll probably make you more comfortable before you get on stage.
Yeah, just to like spit it out. And it doesn't always go that way. Like just because I did 10 minutes in the mirror doesn't mean I did that same 10 minutes.
I can make a horrible joke and say that could be my dating life sometimes, but I won't go there. I would never do that. Anyway, no. And
I do tell guys I date to stop telling me jokes. I'm like, you don't come to the comics with your D material.
I want to talk more about this guy that took 10 dates with you bore he slept with you. No, I'm just kidding. We don't
all
have
4 of them?
I'm just kidding. All 4 of them. I love it. I love it. Hey, I want to tell me about your social media, your website, which I checked out. You got a really cool website, by the way.
Thank you.
I love the bio. Talk about you and all the stuff you got going on. I know you got your book that's coming out next year. You got an album that's coming out. Tell me about that before we go.
All right. My Instagram is Lindsay Glazer Comedy, LINDSAY. Oh, my next local show is I judge whatever the next date of Roast Battle is at Wise Guys. I forget. They might not even have a date. I'm at Steve McNally's show next to the Pawn Star guy at Rick's Smoking Barbecue.
Yes.
My Twitter is Lindsay Glazer. My Facebook's Lindsay Glazer Comedy, LINDSAY. My album is coming out called my book's coming out. It's called Am I Effing Zen Yet? So you got that right. So only one fine by the FCC.
Yep.
And then my album is going to come out. Name's still pending. We have a few throwing around. We're trying to see. Maybe Damage Collateral. We're not sure. And then my next local show after that, I don't even know because I'm at Laugh Factory in Chicago next weekend. And
that's a cool gig.
And then I'm in Miami. And then Laugh Factory is great. I hope. I mean, I'd like to do Laugh Factory here locally, but I just go back.
Just don't do what Kramer did. That's all.
Don't do Kramer
that. Yeah, well, that was.
Did he say the N-word too?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
all comedians. So listen, if you're gonna say the N-word when you're drunk and blame it on drunk, you were gonna say it anyways. Like people are crazy.
True. I tend to agree with you on that one. I think Kramer got what he deserved. But anyway, Lindsay, you're awesome. Great comic. I can't wait to see one of your upcoming
next
shows.
Next time I'll come on will be funny. We won't talk so serious.
Yeah. We got a little serious.
Dating.
We got a little serious the first segment. I want to learn more about how the $90,000 though that Trump owes your dad. I don't
know, but if anyone wants to give me that for sexual favors, I'm game.
Fair enough.
It only take me 5 minutes.
I only make $30,000 a year, so I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can afford that. But anyway, Lindsay, all seriousness, thank you so much for being here, man. It's been a lot of fun. Nice to finally meet you. I've heard a lot about you, and can't wait to see one of your shows coming up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that is the very funny Lindsay Glazer. That was a lot of fun. We did get into some serious conversation, but we also had some fun. Hey, tomorrow on the show, Michelle Mortensen, 8-time Emmy winner.